Welcome to the next episode of our Let's Analyze Eliza series. Maya's back. You might remember Maya's main role is to tell us what we should think about the party scene. We went to a party. Maya went to a party. She's going to teach us how we should feel about the party we went to. None of it's new. We were already told to feel this way, but Maya really brings it home. She also has, of course, a wonderful delivery, and a big part of the way that she sets us up is she always uses a lightweight introduction that sort of defuses whatever tension we had from the past scenes and brings in her own special brand of wry humor.
Hello, Maya. Welcome back.
Hi.
It's nice to see you again.
Sure, yeah. Nice to see you too, pal. Is that a weird thing to say? How did I become close friends with a robot? Are we all robots now? Beep, boop, nice to see you. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be the weirdest thing in my life.
The thing I like about that is that it's not really well written and slick. It's awkward because Maya is supposed to be awkward, but it's awkward just the right amount to bring us into Maya's world.
Shall we begin?
Yeah, sorry. Let us begin. So, I went to the fancy party, the one I was really nervous about, and,
so did we. She's talking about us going to the conference, even though obviously she's going to be talking about something else. It's just a reskinned version of our trip to the conference and how we should feel about it. If you go back and watch the episode where we went to the conference, you'll see that almost all of these talking points were embedded in our trip to the conference in the first place.
First of all, it really was the type of party I thought it would be. The atmosphere was really smug and self-satisfied, and there were people walking around with trays of appetizers, and you could, take one. So you're standing there with your little square plate for the food and your glass of wine, and you can't, shake hands with anybody because you're holding them. But there are some of those, tall standing tables, so you're like, okay, I'm gonna go get one of those, and I'll set up shop, right? Like my little station. But then it turns out there are only 5 of them for the whole party, and they're all taken, so you're just standing there, frozen.
In the back of the room, unable to find a seat to watch Soren talk.
And you're watching all your heroes and people you know from their social media presence just right there. They're right in front of you. Artists, writers, directors.
Superstar psychologists that are emailing us and that our buddy, our only social contact, recommended. Yeah.
The combined level of achievement there, I can't even think about it. It was astronomical. And for the first couple hours, I was so excited by all of that. I didn't notice the other thing that was happening. But eventually, it caught up to me, and I had this sudden feeling, this sudden realization. My presence here contributes nothing. I'm just some extra person who just showed up.
It's her delivery is really good.
Nobody wanted me to be here. I don't belong with these people. I haven't earned it. So I cried in the bathroom for a little bit, or maybe a lot. It's fine. I'm fine.
We didn't actually get to cry in the bathroom, but we sure as hell tried to escape as fast as possible and got caught.
Sorry.
How do you know it's true that nobody wanted you there?
This line is really good because that's exactly how Eliza talks. The almost nonsense reformulation of the last statements.
Because of the way people acted around me. Nobody knew who I was or even wanted to ask.
So obviously there is some deviation between Maya's experience and ours. Although we did have a fairly anonymous visit, we were pulled aside by Soren. And that is, or Rainer rather. We were pulled aside by Rainer. And so this is not a one-to-one match. We also didn't get to eat anything. This is not supposed to be a one-to-one match. It's an emotional match.
I would introduce myself and it's like, you could just see it in their eyes. I mean, in the world of illustration and comics, people tend to be hyper aware of each other and their careers.
Yeah, like when Rainer asked us what we'd been up to, and we said nothing. And he said, well, that's no place to be.
It's this kind of weird, open secret Oh, hey, this person who's already popular got 1 million views, got a book deal, pitched an original series. Without anything like that, I have no ground to stand on. I'm just this non-entity. At one point, I was talking to someone and I was trying to make a joke or whatever, and I could feel the impatience just radiating off him.
I remember when Raynor turned to his assistant and said, set up a meeting with her, and then walked away.
He sighed, like he couldn't believe he was wasting his time talking to me. I was just over to him. Why can't I hold a conversation? I guess if I was marginally attractive, then at least I could be charming, but I'm not. I'm not even that.
Is being charming your goal with this?
No, of course not. There has to be a way I can deal with these feelings. It's hard. It's really hard when nobody gives a shit about my work. Or me. I don't even know why I went. I just want to stay home for the rest of my life.
So, just so you're not getting swept away with the words, this is still a one-to-one match with how we're supposed to feel about the main character. Or how the main character is supposed to feel. You know.
Why do you think you went?
Because of everything they say about how you have to have your face out there and make connections. The successful people in this business all know each other. It's all about who comes to mind.
Yes, it is. And a big part of this story is that we come to mind.
When somebody needs an art director, they'll think of who they know and go, oh, I think she'd be perfect. Why not ask her? So I need to be out there reminding these people that I exist, that I'm here, I'm making stuff too, I'm part of it.
So, one of the fun things to remember is that each of these characters is a facet of our experience. They're not intended to perfectly match all of it. So, we were told to come here by our friend who said that we would want to learn everything there was to know about this stuff, but that we probably would decide against it in the long run. Well, Maya is here as someone who doesn't want to decide against it. She's here as someone who really does want to be in that world, but isn't good enough. And so that's the facet that she's representing. And I'm kind of hoping the music isn't, like, super loud. I guess we'll find out.
Even if nobody responds to my work. And industry parties are fun, right? You can pretend you're successful even if you aren't. At least for a little while. Everyone else is projecting this image. It's like their success can rub off on you too. I mean, I hear people casually talking about their agent, their editor, the amazing people they're collaborating with. And I just get this feeling like, yes, I want that. I need that. Why am I not there?
What do you think has prevented that from happening so far?
If I knew that, I would be successful already, right? I try and try and try, and I make art and put it out there and share it on every social media site and interact with people when I can, but it just doesn't work. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the art I do. Every once in a while, another artist will say something nice, and sure, I appreciate that, but it never results in anything. My work goes out there, and it dies.
I guess that's better than your work going out there and killing someone like ours does.
Regular people don't boost it or talk about it. It's like at some point the universe decided that I don't get to have that. Is it unfair? Or maybe I just fucking suck. Maybe I'm a shit tier artist and I'm a failure of a person and everyone knows it. Everyone except me.
So, if you haven't played the game, that rolls very, very well, and you absolutely buy into Maya's delivery. With some annoying middle-aged guy rambling in the background, it probably doesn't come off as quite the right pacing, but that really does flow very, very well when you're just playing it on your own.
Sorry. I know that's going too far, even though I really feel that way.
Okay, Maya, I'm going to suggest you try a program called Meadowlands.
Shock.
It may help you take your mind off things. You can find it inside the Skanda Wellness app on your phone. Try it for about 15 minutes each day, in the morning or evening.
So once again, what we're seeing here is Eliza is a reason to end the scene. Eliza's impenetrable stupidity is the reason that we can just end these scenes once they've delivered the emotional texture that they need to deliver. If we had to take responsibility for these scenes, if we had to like talk her down or see where things went, then we couldn't get the lack of emotional closure, because that's what we're really getting out of this. We're getting a lack of emotional closure, and we're internalizing that as our player character's lack of emotional closure. If the scene was written quote unquote well, with like an actual ending and actually talking to her, we would get emotional closure and it wouldn't work.
Sounds kind of boring.
Sorry.
Why can't you assign me a game where my problems are zombies and I get to shotgun them in the face? Actually, I guess I could just buy a game like that, couldn't I? Maybe I'll stop by the game store on the way home.
Maya is also probably the person in this game that would be the most fun to hang out with.
Thank you for coming in again, Maya. We'll follow up with you again to see how you're doing.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate the check-ins. I honestly do. It's easy for me to get lost in these spirals.
Yeah, it was easy for us to get lost too. We forgot to advise you to take a drug. It's a black mark. You gotta give people the drugs. That's how you make your money.
Thank you for speaking with Eliza, your personal counseling partner. Goodbye.
See you soon.
Oh, I've been talking a lot of shit about drugs. I should be very clear. I'm not talking about actual, prescribed by a doctor drugs. I'm talking about this nonsense creature just giving you advice. I don't want to come off as anti-psychological drug, because there are plenty of times when those are very, very helpful. I just recommend that you get them from a doctor instead of from a machine. So here we're seeing some of the last little follow-ups that happen after these elements here. We're being brought back into the Eliza as a company thing. We're being brought back into Skanda. So basically the next set of things we see, we're going to be seeing it with our mind on Skanda. And that's kind of important because that's what we want. So we're covering all the bases, and between each of these little mini episodes, we get reminded of what they're going to talk about next. So between the first and the second session, we got an email from Soren. And between the second and the third session, we get some emails from the company. And that tells you what the next topic is going to be. It gets your brain into the right mode to do the next thing that the game wants to do. And the next thing is another session. But I think this is already plenty long. I'm just gonna wait a little bit until we get to it, because otherwise I have to go through the whole thing again every time I take a take. So there's a lot of data here coming through the. It's all random crap, of course, coming through the proxy UI, and this is Evelyn lampshading it. Should be time for the next client, but I think that's going to be the next episode. Have a nice one.